Coming up, let's talk about why you should visit Universal Orlando Resort this summer. From the Orlando area, this is the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is episode 264 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm your host, Craig Williams, and today I am doing this solo. Rhino is not here joining me because I am recording this episode pretty last second and didn't have time to work anything out where we could sync our schedule so that way we'd be able to record this together. But the information's actually pretty straightforward. It's all very simple, and I don't think it's going to be a very long show, just kind of a little bit of a filler episode because I've had an unusually busy week last week and still starting off this week anyway. So just wanted to get something out there without taking up too much of my time as well as wasting your time with nonsensical, witty banter and such. So I'm just going to keep this short and sweet and to the point. And this week's topic, as I said in that opening there, it's why you should visit Universal Orlando Resort this summer. So, of course, it is open and available for you to book right now, and we've been talking a lot about Universal Orlando Resort in terms of the crowd levels right now, basically since City Walk opened up and through the park opening and such. So I'm going to kind of just use this as a chance to recap all of the reasons why you should probably think about booking Universal Orlando Resort this summer. And of course, if you do need help booking a Universal Orlando vacation, we always recommend Dreams Unlimited Travel. They are the travel agency that, of course, we are partners with, and Pete is a co-owner in Dreams Unlimited Travel. So all of the agents there who book Universal are complete experts at Universal. They are a great, valuable resource, especially when something comes up and you have to cancel your vacation, or like what happened in this situation where many people had their vacations canceled and they need someone doing a lot of the hard work on their behalf. So dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, go there. You can put in for a vacation quote, and one of the great agents at Dreams Unlimited Travel can help you out with planning your perfect Universal vacation. So that out of the way, let's talk about Universal Orlando right now this summer and the reasons you should go. I'm going to try to keep it to 5 reasons here. And the first reason I'm saying why you should go to Universal Orlando this summer is because of no park reservations. So I am actually recording this on the day that the park reservations went live for anyone who had a Disney reservation. So if you had a resort reservation plus valid theme park admission, then you were able to go on and book the Park Pass, Disney's version of a park reservation for their theme parks when they reopen, starting on July 11th, followed by July 15th, and so on and so forth. And a lot of people were reporting that they were able to get the choices that they wanted pretty simply and easily. Other people did not report that. They reported far worse outcomes where they were only able to get some theme parks during their actual stays or none at all, and it wasn't letting them do anything. And then there was other people reporting just that they still haven't been able to get through, and tons and tons of issues going on with the system. And then as the day went on, then like Hollywood studios started filling up for the people with resort reservations without knowing whether or not it was going to be available once it's open up to people with just regular tickets and annual pass holders. It is a mess. I'm sure it will be a nice process, and those Disney parks will be better for having the reservation system when they do reopen. But the way it was handled by all measure was a complete mess. With Universal, you don't have to worry about any of that right now. Universal does not require any park reservations at all. You show up, and as long as the parks aren't at capacity, then you are able to get in. And you cannot get much simpler with that. You don't have to plan ahead where you want to go. You don't have to stress about being on time for any reservation at all. You can just go and stroll in, and I really don't know how to say that it could not be easier than that. And with I will say the one caveat of sorts in this is that Volcano Bay has actually hit capacity a couple times. I believe every time it hit capacity, it was on a weekend with perfect weather. So it's not like a Universal park. I'm not going to say a theme park because we know how most people feel about calling Volcano Bay a theme park when it's a water park. But yeah, it's one of those things that they technically do have the potential to hit capacity and close down. So far, it's only been Volcano Bay. I can't foresee it being the actual theme parks unless there's just a rush of people heading to Florida in order to get here. But with Volcano Bay hitting capacity, I mean, I think that's the last thing that people are actually really worrying about. The main draw is still going to be going to Islands of Adventure as well as Universal Studios Florida, and that has just not been an issue yet since the parks have reopened. So going to Universal this summer, knowing that you don't have to worry about a park reservation, you can't get much better than that. So that is one perfect reason why you should choose Universal Orlando this summer. And kind of piggybacking off of the first reason why you should go, the crowds have been really low at Universal. So for the most part, it has just been people who are annual pass holders, Florida residents and such, people who are already around the area, maybe some people who had plans to travel down and finally did so. But for the most part, that wave of tourists that some people were expecting to come through just really hasn't yet. For the most part, people still don't seem to be traveling. So every single day at Universal, it's kind of on the slow side as compared to what it would normally be during summer months. And honestly, I think it's going to stay like that for the most part. So it's not hitting the crowd levels that they were hitting the first couple of days. That first weekend, opening day, everything was, it was a bad wait was 30 minutes. Everything was much slower than that. That hasn't been really the case since then. The park crowd levels have spiked up a little bit here and there, so things have gotten slightly busier, but for the most part, still it's low waits for everything and very low crowds. So I think you cannot go wrong with that. I mean, part of going to a theme park is knowing that you don't have to wait in long lines, and right now that's just really not the case. I mean, it's still a couple of times that I was there and talking to my other friends who have been there, one of the areas of issue that still keeps popping up is the situation with getting food inside the theme park seems to be the only thing that's a little bit sloppy. But beyond that, everything is just working very, very smoothly, and the crowds are not having an impact at all. So who knows how long this will last where the crowd levels are this small. So it's something you should definitely take advantage of if you are okay traveling right now, because crowds won't always be like this. I mean, it's definitely off season levels in terms of the crowds. But again, kind of going off of that, where I said that you don't necessarily need you don't necessarily need to worry about long lines and such right now because of this. One of the other options that is available during this time, the number 3 reason why you should choose Universal Orlando right now, is because Universal Express is still in existence during this time. So I think that is awesome that they kept it. So this is more in reference to what's happening down the road at Walt Disney World. Of course, at Walt Disney World, they have completely eliminated Fast Pass Plus for when the parks do reopen. So everything is going to be standby. They've even confirmed that there will be no virtual lines at all. It will be all standby. Who knows if that'll change in the time before it opens up, and once it opens up and they start tweaking and adjusting stuff. I'm not positive on that, but all I can say is what is out there and on paper right now, and that is that there is no Fast Pass Plus at all, which for some people, that's how you make or break a vacation. Again, the crowd levels at Walt Disney World will probably be so low that they won't necessarily need it, just like Universal Orlando. But at the same time, Universal Orlando is still offering Express, which I think is perfect for those families still who find value in wanting to skip the lines even further and having that extra expedited experience while at the parks, especially if you only have a short time there. But you still get your Express Pass if you're staying at one of the premier hotels. So right now, Portofino Bay, as of the time of recording this, still has not opened. So just looking at Hard Rock Hotel as well as Royal Pacific. Sorry, it slipped out of my mind there for a second. And then I was also thinking back, like, am I positive that Portofino hasn't opened up yet? I'm all going crazy. I've had a really long weekend. And still a busy day too, so my brain is all over the place. So I apologize for that, but you can get your free Express by staying at one of the premier hotels, which, you know, it's great. You are paying a premium for staying at those hotels. We'll get to that in just a couple minutes here. But at the same time, you do get that free Express with it, that unlimited Express, which is awesome, not awesome, or no, it is awesome, and it's an option. And if you don't stay at those hotels, but you still want Universal Express, of course, you can always pay for it out of pocket. It's available to do that. It can be expensive, but at the same time, too, if you are on a limited time frame and you really want to be able to get to do everything and you don't even have time to wait 30 minutes for attractions, rides, then it is an option, something that you won't see down the road at Walt Disney World. And number 4, another thing that I mentioned that we probably won't see at Walt Disney World is virtual lines. So of course, really the only thing that was utilizing virtual lines at Walt Disney World was Rise of the Resistance with that entire setup, something that, you know, we kind of speculated about leading up to Walt Disney World opening. Maybe everything would go to that system and have it like that. And of course, that's not how it's all panning out to be. But at Universal, they are still utilizing virtual lines for several attractions. So the only attraction that is guaranteed to always have a virtual line at this point seems to be Hagrid's, and I think that's actually a good thing. So I complained a lot about Hagrid's and its virtual line during our annual pass holder preview, but in the time being since then, it has been extremely easy to get a virtual line return time for Hagrid's because they do stagger them throughout the day. And fortunately, we haven't had a terrible run-in with weather or any situation like that recently. So Hagrid's has been able to operate pretty well during this entire time and not having to worry about shutting down. So when it's running at a great pace and they're putting a lot of people on, they are able to open up more times throughout the day, and that's making it more accessible for more people. Like, more people, I feel like, are getting to ride it multiple times in a day, and that just wasn't something that was happening before even the shutdown of Universal. So Hagrid's has now become something that people are getting to really experience how great of an attraction it is, and that's thanks to the virtual line. And of course, other attractions have dabbled in the virtual line, like Forbidden Journey has used it, Gringotts has used it, Revenge of the Mummy. Sometimes they're not using it. Other times, you know, Fallon could be using it, Fast and Furious could be using it, Despicable Me. It seems like it's fluctuating based on what they need, but it's nice that it is an option for those attractions when they do need to utilize it. And it's a good system. It's a system that works when you finally get that time, and you might have to wait a couple hours to get there. But once you do, you're going to have a much shorter wait, maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but not to the extent that if it's really busy and the wait times could get up to like 60 minutes. So I'm all for virtual line, especially in terms of Hagrid's. I really love how it's working at Hagrid's. I still think they need to close that loophole where if you're with a family of 5 and everyone gets on the same time and books different times for Hagrid's, and they each have 5 guests, so everyone in that group can ride 5 times. I still don't think that's a fair system, but at the same time, I would hope that a lot of people don't abuse it, or as long as enough people are able to get times throughout the day, that there are some people who can reride it multiple times, and then whatever. That's also fine too. So I'm not gonna complain too much about that because I don't want to go on and on about it. It is definitely a problem that is not really that big in the grand scheme of life. But our 5th and final reason for why you should consider choosing Universal Orlando Resort is because of the availability this summer. So Walt Disney World is on lockdown. You have offsite resort hotels to choose from, and people are just waiting to be able to book like 2021 for Walt Disney World and such. And some people are getting canceled for their Walt Disney World reservations already that happened before the parks weren't closed. Some hotel reservations are thrown into limbo because those resorts aren't opening up with the rest of the resort and all of that mess. There's a lot of messy things happening with Walt Disney World in terms of that, but Universal, it seems to be a lot easier with their hotels, and there's plenty of availability for the rest of the year, extended even beyond that. And even this summer, if you're trying to do a last second getaway and get over here. So, and the deals don't seem to be that bad. I feel like there's a lot to offer in there. So I looked at price range for several of the hotels, and some are better than others, but let me go over it. So like Cabana Bay and Aventura, they are both the exact same rates from what I saw online. I looked at August 2nd to the 7th. That is a Sunday, checking in on Sunday, checking out on Friday. So I left the weekend off. I know it's more expensive on the weekend, but just for this scenario, this is what I chose. And I chose each room with 2 adults and 2 children. And Cabana Bay and Aventura were showing 3 different prices available. So they had the Savvy Traveler deal, which I believe is part of their stress-free booking, that if you book a hotel through the 30th, then you can cancel your vacation package 24 hours before you have to arrive, and you can get 100% cancellation for that. Same as just booking a room only, and then if you buy tickets, then you can get a full refund on your tickets if you buy. All this is ending on June 30th, so this is the rates I'm getting, of course, too, with this in mind of it's still before June 30th, so that is something to consider. But that Savvy Traveler deal, it's $165.86 for that Savvy Traveler deal. That's an average for each night, not total, obviously. The seasonal rate is $207.33 average per night, and then the Florida resident rate is $132.33 per night right now. That was for Cabana Bay and Aventura from August 2nd to the 7th with 2 adults and 2 children. So especially if you're a Florida resident, that's not a bad deal on either of those hotels at the $132 and $132.33. I didn't write this well out enough in my script I have in front of me here, so I apologize for not being able to speak because of that. But yeah, these are also all for standard rooms. I should mention that too. Not anything special, not deluxe views, not suites, anything like that, just standard view rooms. So going down a level to Endless Summer, Surfside Inn and Suites, for the standard room there, you can get a room available at an average, again, August 2nd to the 7th, 2 adults, 2 children. The Savvy Traveler deal was displaying rates at $127.20 per night. The seasonal rate was $159 per night, and the Florida resident rate was $109 per night. So even better deal. Another $20 cheaper than Cabana Bay and Aventura. A little bit further away, but if you're trying to save money, then it's definitely an option for you out there. With Sapphire Falls going one step up from Cabana Bay and Aventura, Sapphire Falls was coming in at $207.20 for that Savvy Traveler deal, $259 for the seasonal rate, and $154 per night for the Florida resident rate. And then next level up was Royal Pacific Resort. That was showing rates at $339.15 for the Savvy Traveler deal, then $399 for the seasonal rate, and then $274 per night for the Florida resident rate. So definitely a jump up in price range for that level. And then Hard Rock is by far the most expensive. So I know it's always an expensive hotel, but they also must be a little bit busy too, because Hard Rock was showing rates of $394.40 for the Savvy Traveler deal, $464 for the seasonal rate, and then $309 for the Florida resident rate. And again, that was the per night rate for each of these hotels, the average per night rate from August 2nd to 7th for 2 adults and 2 children. So plenty of availability, lots of price ranges to choose from. You will not have a problem getting into a Universal hotel at any point in time here. So it's another great reason why you should check out Universal Orlando Resort this summer. And another great reason too, that's not on my list, I'm keeping that at 5. I'm done with my list now. But another great reason too is that Universal just had a new attraction open up and go into technical rehearsal. And of course, that is the Bourne Stunttacular. So you might be wondering why we didn't do a show about that this week. And it's because, well, I can't speak for Rhino. I'm not sure if he went over there and experienced it yet. I don't believe he did, but unfortunately for me, I had plans to go and check it out, but then there was personal issues that came up last week, which was part of my busyness, where I was basically, I was put in a position where I was saving it for the end of the week, and then I became unavailable every single day from Wednesday to Sunday, where I had no time to go to a theme park at all. So I still haven't seen Bourne Stunttacular yet. I've read everything that my friends that have put out there about the stunt show, and it has me intrigued. You know, I feel like we made jokes about it, but didn't look down on it too much. And it appears that it's a good thing we didn't, because most people seem to be enjoying it. So I'm very excited to get out there and see that. And hopefully that's our show for you next week, is talking about Bourne Stunttacular, but it will have to wait. But that's another great reason to come out, because, hey, who thought... I mean, we knew it was going to be opening up, because it would have opened up in spring here if the parks didn't close down. But it's a great selling point too, that in the midst of everything happening, in the midst of all this, the travel nightmares and everything, they're still able to get a new attraction up and running and going, and give something fresh for all the guests who are coming out to Universal Orlando Resort. That is definitely commendable. So that's all the reasons why I think you should choose Universal Orlando Resort this summer. And if you have any other suggestions for me on why people should visit Universal this summer, or even in the near future, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below here on the YouTube video. And if you're listening to this out there somewhere, of course, you can always tweet at me at Teleclaster, or find me on Instagram and send me messages that way too, and let me know what you think about that. But that's going to do it for this episode. Again, we have to recommend Dreams Unlimited Travel right now to help you with all your vacation needs, whether it is Universal and you're going to give that a shot, or Walt Disney World, or thinking about a cruise in the way off future, because that doesn't seem like it's going to be happening anytime soon. But anything you need related to those theme park visits here in Orlando, California, they can handle it. So go ahead and head to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com and get in touch with the experts there and get working on your vacation that's coming up. So if you need any extra information, of course, you can always go to disunplug.com. That's the home of the show notes page for this show and all the others on the Dis Unplugged podcast network. You can find links to our social media channels as well as so much more. And if you watch this on YouTube, again, go ahead and leave us comments and questions down below. Hit that thumbs up if you liked it. Leave us other feedback if you can. But above all, subscribe and make sure you hit that bell button so you get notified when we have new videos released about Universal and beyond. So, and if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, please, again, make sure you're subscribed if possible and leaving us feedback, ratings, and reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because the more feedback you leave, whether it is written reviews or just leaving us stars, that's how we'll get ranked higher and we'll show up, and then more people can find us and hear our nonsense or get help planning a vacation, one or the other. So thank you again so much for taking the time to watch or listen to this. I do appreciate it, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Dis Unplugged Universal Edition. But until then, remember, we still haven't changed the name.